The Walt Disney Company claims to uphold certain values, but what if those values are challenged by financial reality? What's going to happen to Sam Wilson Captain America when many Disney fans are alleging that they have heard from cast members directly that Disney is pulling him from rotation at Disneyland right before Black History Month? Let's find out today on That Park Place. Guys, this one is an interesting one. Vash, you brought this to my attention the other day, and I looked into it. I found the Reddit thread about it, and it's a lot of people that are saying that this is what's happening.
A lot of people that are saying this is what's happening for sure. When I saw Theme Park IQ share this, I was like, ooh, that's a pretty reputable source right there. He doesn't usually go with rumors or speculation. Oftentimes, he really does the tangible stuff, right? The stuff that's been announced, or maybe he has it from an inside source or something. But there seems to be a lot of smoke with this fire. And we've been hearing about cast member shifts here, right? With face characters and meet and greet characters and so forth. We obviously have covered the Evil Queen and what's been going on there with Disneyland and so forth. But now it looks like they're making even more changes, but this time at Avengers Campus and right before Black History Month.
Well, so according to multiple posts in the Disneyland subreddit, guests and regular parkgoers were told by cast members directly that Sam Wilson is no longer appearing in Avengers Campus meet and greets. While Disney has not issued any official announcement confirming the change, commenters claim the character was last seen over the weekend and has since vanished from the daily schedule. If accurate, the move would come just weeks before Black History Month, an ironic development for a company that has spent the last several years loudly embracing race-based promotion, heritage celebrations, and representation-driven marketing across its parks, films, and corporate branding. At this stage, Disney, of course, has not publicly confirmed the removal of Sam Wilson from Disneyland, nor has the company addressed why the character may no longer be appearing. However, multiple Reddit users independently report being told the same thing by cast members, and several longtime Disneyland watchers note that Sam Wilson has simply stopped appearing on internal schedules. Some commentators have suggested that the performer playing Sam Wilson may have left, while others pushed back on that idea, saying this was a temporary staffing issue, pointing out that Disney regularly recasts face characters when demand exists. That detail matters, of course, because it suggests that it could be a strategic decision rather than a logistical one. So, of course, by that, guys, we mean Sam Wilson was part of a movie that Erica grossly bombed at the box office, that being Captain America: Brave New World. Do you think that this decision is based on that financial reality?
It's not really in my wheelhouse.
Or MJ, what do you think about that? Do you think that they are feeling the financial pinch?
Oh yeah, 100%. This movie did so badly. The kids didn't even take on to it. And usually kids are prone to take on to, any kind of really cool superhero. And this one is just like, they tried doing something different with Captain America. If you're not a DC comic book person or Marvel person, picture this, the original Annie movie, and then they turned it into another one with a different little girl. And I'll leave it there. This is just give them their own original stuff. This movie didn't do well. The kids didn't take on to it. The merchandise flopped. I remember being at a kid's birthday party and they gave my son the shirt. My son's like, who is this guy? They just don't want anything to do with it.
It's not Captain America.
Correct. And he was like, what, 8 or 9? You're going to get a kid. You're going to get mad at a kid for being honest. Who is this guy? I don't like this shirt, Mom, here. And I donated it to charity because we don't want the shirt.
Well, one thing that I saw just this past weekend was I was at Universal and I saw in Marvel Superhero Island, the Captain America that they have over there was the only character out that had a line.
You see?
Other than the indoor Spider-Man experience, obviously. But like Wolverine, the sorry Wolverine that they've got there, he was just kind of standing out there, by himself, striking poses. Cyclops and Rogue and Storm, same thing. Just nobody was going up to them. Everybody wanted to go up to Captain America. And it's because Steve Rogers is Captain America and Sam Wilson is the Falcon. I mean, I think people still see it that way because they've seen it that way for many, many years.
This does kind of, it raises the question too about the questions when it comes to kids and what they perceive. MJ brought up a great point here, and this extends even beyond the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This goes with the live action version of Ariel, right, versus the animated Ariel, and how kids actually react to that and so forth. So there's a lot of uncomfortable things going on there. Marv, you bring up a really great point about the box office for Brave New World. Again, that comes out in 2025. It only grosses $413 million at the box office, and we know from internal estimates that that production was probably well over $350 million because of all the reshoots and everything else. So it really did not make its money back. And you also are on the cusp of bringing back, well, the people would say the real Captain America, but in this case, you are bringing back the Steve Rogers Captain America with Doomsday. And this is very interesting too, because if you look at the header image for Avengers Campus on the official website, they have changed that from like a screenshot or a picture of all the characters in front of the Avengers Campus kind of main structure there to a 2021 version of like a photo or something like that. So a lot of people are speculating, like, why'd you like take out the character photo and put in this kind of generic photo of the land? And so they're definitely making some character changes here. I don't know if this is going to be permanent, but it definitely did take a lot of people by surprise. And again, this is just coming after where, you know, the evil queen, right? She was making some comments in some TikTok videos that maybe she was going away, and well, in fact, she was. Now Disney tried to, you know, do the whole Jedi mind trick. Hey, there's nothing to see here, folks. We make rotations all the time, but in fact, she was fired, and to the dismay of many. So it's just, there's a long history of this, and it's all kind of coming to fruition here.
Now, Vash, you've been to Marvel Superhero Academy or whatever it's called, Avengers Campus.
Yes.
Have you seen like demand for Sam Wilson? Does he get a decent amount of people coming up to him?
Well, and that's why we played that B-roll before, provided by a great friend of the channel, Marty Snyder. Awesome stuff right there. He can walk casually through, you know, the courtyards of Avengers Campus and not get mobbed. Versus, I have seen Steve Rogers in various areas in Avengers Campus, and he always has a huge line. And again, this, you know, this includes like when other characters are out, maybe Captain Marvel when she's out, maybe Miss Marvel, some other noteworthy characters in the MCU, at least noteworthy in the last 5 years. They don't demand quite the line that Steve Rogers as Captain America does, and certainly Sam Wilson as Captain America just isn't there.
Like, look at this. Nobody is even looking at him. He's like swaggering through, and like I think there's like one lady here, like with the mid ears, like looks at him and smiles. But like, and there's this guy here's taking a picture. Nobody cares.
Nah.
And that's the thing. And I really feel bad for people who, you know, maybe are fond of this character, or maybe these actors themselves, and you know, the Sam Wilson character in general, because I think he worked really well as Falcon, as the right-hand man of Captain America. When that switch actually took place, it just didn't feel earned for the audience. Go ahead, Marvin.
Well, now, Erica, you just said something interesting in the chat. You said, I'm a Disney purist. Marvel is not Disney and doesn't belong in the parks.
Yes.
Elaborate on that, please.
It doesn't. It's not created by Disney. It's not a creation by Walt. No, it's an IP they purchased and frankly, apparently ruined it, according to the fan base. You don't want me as CEO. I would absolutely obliterate that part of Disneyland and turn it into something that is actually Disney, like a massive Pixie Hollow or something that Disney actually created, you know, do a whole Tangled area like what Tokyo Disney's done. They go back to Walt Disney, because that's what you're missing.
Amen.
I would say, fortunately, this area is in Disney California Adventure, not Disneyland proper. But I do hear you, Erica. It's just, well, I bring this up because, well, they tried to bring Disney California Adventure into the realm of Disney with kind of character inclusion and so forth. You know, the big Mickey on the Ferris wheel that previously was not there. That was a 2012 edition.
At least it's
Try to bring
Mickey.
it. Well, they try to bring it more in line with Disney, classic Disney, and that's why Buena Vista Street is named thusly, because the studio in Burbank, California is on, well, Buena Vista Drive. And so you have a number of nods within Buena Vista Street, that entrance corridor for Disney California Adventure, that brings it more in line with Disney. And then when you include something like Avengers Campus, that is, you know, arguably not super Disney, or at least an acquisition, it just feels a little bit incompatible. And it's interesting because Michael Eisner, you know, he had a chance to buy Marvel when he was the CEO of Disney and didn't actually pull the trigger because he just didn't feel that it was, he could incorporate it into what Disney.
Wasn't Disney. That's probably why.
Good for
him.
he understood the Disney name and what that name carries and the weight that it holds. And that was smart.
Sure.
Walt would absolutely not approve of where the company sits in all this because he wasn't one to copy and paste. He didn't even want a sequel to Mary Poppins.
Correct.
He didn't like sequels. It
Very true.
had to be original stories from scratch all the time. That's what he wanted to consistently push the envelope on being the pioneers in imagination and creativity. And they've gotten so far away from that, and it shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, so Vash, do you think that if they are taking Sam Wilson out, that somebody else is going in his place? Do they still have Steve Rogers, Captain America, meeting and greeting on a regular basis?
They do. Not, obviously Sam Wilson got a little bit more attention because the film, had released in early 2025, right? So you saw a little bit more of him than you otherwise would have. But Steve Rogers does make regular appearances. Avengers Campus is not limited to the timeline limitations that Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is, right? So you can have even both Captain Americas side by side in some cases, and it's completely fine. But it's really going to be interesting to see if this is a kind of a permanent change. And to me, if it is, because I kind of know how the character inclusion works over there at Marvel's Avengers Campus, some of it is provided by Marvel's marketing budget. They actually use Avengers Campus to market the films. And that's why you have inclusions like, I don't know, the Fantastic Four. I know that took up residence in Tomorrowland, but there are multiple instances of characters being included surrounding the latest Marvel project in Avengers Campus.
Yeah.
This might be kind of a change emanating from Marvel themselves and saying, look, we're going to put emphasis on Steve Rogers. We really want Steve Rogers in this particular area of Disneyland.
Well, because Avengers Doomsday absolutely has to hit. Now, what do you guys think about the fact that they are doing this weeks before Black History Month? That is the thing everyone's pointing out.
Wow.
And it's so funny to me whenever Disney does something like this, because at the end of the day, I don't think any of us have an issue with this. We don't see it as, some kind of horrible, racist thing that they've done.
Not.
But a lot of the fans that they've cultivated over the years will see it as exactly that. So how do you think they get around the optics here?
I can't understand why people cannot understand why there just needs to be more original characters. Like, for example, Blade. Okay. That's an original character. He's African American, or I'm not sure what part of the world he's from, but he's an amazing, the person who plays Blade is an amazing actor. A lot of people like that film franchise. But what I'm saying is, I don't understand why people feel offended at the fact that you cannot take an original character and then replace it with something else that it just doesn't fit. It's not fitting. It doesn't make sense. And the fact that it's happening right before Black History Month, it might shake things a little bit, but at the same time, I feel like people that are offended by these things deserve to have more original characters, like, original princesses, or come up with an original superhero that's African American. And I bet a lot of people would take onto that. Come up with an original story, stop reusing things, and it has nothing to do with being racist at all whatsoever. Just leave this original things alone. That's all.
Right.
That's it.
So Vash, do you think that the Disneyland Black History Month celebration, whatever it might be, is diminished without Sam Wilson there?
You say that tongue in cheek. I get that, but they actually do put quite the emphasis on Black History Month every single year. It's kind of they do. They have like African American performers in various areas of both the parks and in the hotels and in Downtown Disney and so forth, where they had that performance space. I think they had a display one year actually within the old ESPN Zone building, actually, where you can actually go through and see all the contributions that Black people have had for the nation, and maybe even for Southern California. And they did include, I think, Frederick Douglass one year, for Abraham Lincoln and so forth. So they do a lot of that stuff. It's just it's just kind of interesting that they would choose to do this now. Maybe there's a logistical issue, maybe there's something behind it and so forth. But you would think that they'd want to showcase these black superheroes, that being like Black Panther and Sam Wilson and so forth. The fact that they're taking these things out, I think it does show you a reprioritization, maybe from the company, or at least from the various areas involved in this decision. Right? It's like, look, we have to make some changes. They have the data on what sells and what doesn't, right? Consumer products is now part of the Parks and Resorts division. That's the experiences division. They know what toys move and what toys don't. I think everybody can, who's honest about this, can say that Steve Rogers Captain America probably sells a little bit more than Sam Wilson. And so this is just, it seems to be motivated by many things. One of those not being the next month on the calendar. And it's just very fascinating to see.
Well, you know what, guys? This Black History Month, people at Disneyland might have one less superhero to marvel at.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.